We've completed our CDI Phase 1 Lifecycle Management, where hosts are deployed based on an operating system, APAs are discovered, and the zone fabric has been initialized. At this point, we have a provisioned fabric. So let's get into the CDI module itself and take a look and explore what actually we see. You can see here from the top right hand, we have a provision fabric. Each one of these hosts have different color to represent what ports they're connected into the PCIe switch. You have transparent resources or APIs that have been discovered, which show transparency indicating they have not been allocated or bound, and they are not officially zoned to a host that you see in the top of the switch itself. So let's go ahead and start the next phase of really composition of binding PCIe form factor devices to each particular host. We'll simply click on the tree view here itself, and you can connect into a new view of showing you how these are interconnected. But a quick tip is to just connect to the link detail itself. You can see here that each one of the ports 1 through 4 are bifurcated to UB4, and 5, 6, 7, and 8 are bifurcated to UB40. Each of these pooled devices, such as FPGAs and GPUs, show transparency because they have not been bound to any of the hosts that are connected to the switch itself. So to do so of the binding, we connect into a composed host or composed node. We'll see here basically two particular hosts that have now been configured and deployed based on an operating system. If you recall, it was the 5.9 system that actually was deployed with an operating system, and the 5.13 BMC IP address host was also deployed on operating system. You can see they're affiliated now with the PCIe topology name accelerator pool. And if you go ahead and scroll to the right here itself and keep scrolling, you'll see here that there are no FPGAs and GPUs that are bound to each one of those servers. So let's start the composition phase of binding resources to each particular host. So we'll start with UB40, and we'll go ahead and simply come up to the attachable resource management and use the drop down to attach GPUs. When you do so, you will see two GPUs there that have actually been ready for composition. They are being pulled from that resource box that is connected to the PCIe switch, or they've been discoverable resources that this particular host can use for CDI itself. So let's check each one of those itself and then move them to the right side of the quadrant and attach them to the GPU. So we'll go ahead and submit a task itself. And then we'll also do so for UB4. We'll connect to the other side of the drawer and basically allocate FPGAs. It discovers a Xilinx UB200 or 250 device or PCIe form factor card that's in the resource box. So we'll simply click on it and move it to the right and basically attach it. So we've submitted both tasks through our composition calls to the Fabric service itself. We are the orchestrator, and we're basically going to the Fabric service of the switch, asking us we need these resources bound to these particular hosts. If you'll notice on the top right here, now we actually have exposed two GPUs that are connected to UB40 that have bound and been composed, and we also see one FPGA that's been bound or composed to UB4. So let's go back to the CDI module itself and let's see what actually has changed. So by simply clicking on the link detail here, now you see that the color codes are represented differently than what you previously saw in the transparency that existed between pooled GPUs and pooled FPGAs. You can see here that this particular two GPUs that are part of this drawer configuration have now been bound or zoned to this UB40 hosts. And you can also see the pooled FPGA, which is in an orange or color, brownish color, now bound and allocated to UB4. So we basically provide you with color coding to indicate of what resources are bound to which particular hosts.